Ladies and gentlemen, dear veterans at home, welcome to Queen's Park. Bienvenue à la cérémonie du souvenir de la province de l'Ontario. Moments ago, we saw Hercules CC-130H fly over, a tribute to all the men and women we honor today from the Royal Canadian Air Force. Members of 424 Transport and Rescue Squadron based in Trenton, Ontario, used this plane in a search and rescue, saving lives on the Great Lakes and throughout Ontario and Northern Canada. My name is Major Jean-Michel Guidlow of 32 Canadian Brigade Group, et je suis heureux de participer à cette commémoration en ce jour du souvenir. I am honored to be here this morning as your Master of Ceremonies. Although the global pandemic forces us to do this differently in 2020, we must still take time to honor those who made possible our way of life. Vous remarquerez le monument dédié aux anciens combattants de l'Ontario qui se trouve derrière moi. Behind me is the Ontario Veterans Memorial, built in 2006. This powerful structure is a lasting tribute to our veterans. It serves as a continual reminder of the sacrifices made by those who have served and continue to serve our country during times of war, conflict, and peace. Le monument aux anciens combattants de l'Ontario, un mur de granit de 30 mètres de long, où sont gravées les scènes de l'histoire militaire canadienne, est dédié à chaque homme et femme qui a eu le courage de servir à la défense de notre liberté en temps de guerre, de conflit et de paix. For millions of Ontarians, this monument is a reminder of the heroism, bravery, and sacrifice of our veterans and the protection of the freedoms we have today. Like many nations around the world, we gather together on November 11th to remember and thank the millions of Canadians who traveled far from home to serve our country in times of peace and war. They not only served in the First and Second World Wars and the Korean War, but also in the Persian Gulf and Afghanistan. Many have also served in international conflicts and peacekeeping missions in places such as Syria and Rwanda. Nous nous rassemblons aujourd'hui en ce 11e novembre pour rendre hommage et surtout pour dire merci à nos anciens combattants et pour se souvenir de leur courage et de leur dévouement, exemplaires lors de la guerre, de conflits internationaux et de missions de paix. By remembering their service and their sacrifice on Remembrance Day, we recognize the significant differences these men and women have made to our democracy, our freedom, and our future. Nous voulons nous souvenir du service rendu par ces femmes et hommes qui, par leur sacrifice, ont contribué à notre démocratie, notre liberté, notre avenir. The platform party will momentarily make their way towards the memorial. Upon the arrival of Her Honor, the Lieutenant Governor, who is the Queen's representative in Ontario, it is customary for the Vice-Regal Salute to be played. This is a combination of the Royal Anthem, God Save the Queen, and the Canadian National Anthem. Les dignitaires se dirigeront bientôt vers le monument. À l'arrivée du lieutenant-gouverneur, qui est la représentante de la reine en Ontario, il est coutume de jouer le salut vice-royal. Mesdames et messieurs, si vous êtes en mesure, veuillez vous lever pour l'arrivée des dignitaires et rester debout pour le salut vice-royal et l'hymne national. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are able, please stand for the arrival of the platform party and remain standing for the playing of the Vice-Regal Salute and O Canada. Her Honor, the Honourable Elizabeth Dowdeswell, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, is accompanied by the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, Mrs. Rain Sampson-Daw, National Silver Cross Mother 2019, the Honourable Carolyn Bennett, Federal Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations, the Honourable Lisa MacLeod, Minister of Heritage, Culture, Sport, Tourism and Tourism Industries, Brigadier General Conrad Makowski, Commander, 4th Canadian Division, Ontario Regional Chief Roseanne Archibald, Chiefs of Ontario, Mrs. Jessica Bell, Member of Provincial Parliament, Legislative Assembly of Ontario, Master Warrant Officer Retired Joel Van Snick, Royal Canadian Legion, Ontario Command, Major General Retired David Fraser, representing veterans, Mr. Stephen Davidson, Secretary of the Cabinet and Head of the Ontario Public Service. J'introduis l'Honorable Elizabeth Dowdeswell, Lieutenant-gouverneur de l'Ontario, accompagné par l'Honorable Doug Ford, Premier ministre de l'Ontario, Madame Reine d'Or, Maire nationale de la Croix-d'Argent 2019, l'Honorable Carolyn Bennett, Ministre des Relations couronnes autochtones, l'Honorable Lisa MacLeod, Ministre des Industries, de la patrimoine, du sport, du tourisme et de la culture, le Brigadier général Conrad Markowski, commandant de la 4e division du Canada, Ontario Chief, Regional Chief, Roseanne Archibald, Chief of Ontario, Madame Jessica Bell, députée, Université Rosedale, l'Assemblée législative de l'Ontario, Adjudant-chef, M. Joel Van Snick, de la Légion royale canadienne, Major General David Fraser, pour les anciens combattants, M. Stephen Davidson, secrétaire des conseils des ministres de l'Ontario, chef de la Fondation publique. Please be seated. At 2 minutes to the hour, the act of remembrance will commence. À 10h58, l'acte de souvenir commencera. At precisely 11 o'clock, the first round of the 21-gun salute will be fired by the 7th Toronto Regiment Royal Canadian Artillery, followed by 2 minutes of silence. À 11h précises, le premier coup de la salve de 21 coups de canon aura lieu suivi de 2 minutes de silence. The silence will be broken by the sound of the bugler playing Reveille. This symbolizes the awakening of the falling soldiers in a better world and rouses the living to do their duty after paying respects to the dead. Le silence sera rompu par le son du clairon jouant le réveil, qui symbolise le réveil des soldats tombés au combat dans un monde meilleur et qui incite les vivants à faire leur devoir après avoir rendu hommage aux morts. right now. Please look up at it as aircraft of the Canadian Harvard Aircraft Association fly past shortly. As we wait for their arrival, I will talk a little bit about the Harvard. The Harvard is probably the best known and most successful training aircraft of World War II, known as the pilot maker. It was a transitional aircraft. The pilots cut their teeth on the Fleet Finch de Havilland, Tiger Moth, and Fleet Cornell before flying the Hurricane, Spitfire, and Mustang, in which they contributed to the end of that war 75 years ago. Le Harvard est probablement l'avion d'entraînement le plus connu et le plus performant de la Seconde Guerre mondiale, connu sous le nom le Pilot Maker. And now, if you are able to, please stand for the act of remembrance. Si vous êtes en mesure, veuillez maintenant vous lever pour l'acte du souvenir. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Ils ne connaîtront jamais l'outrage ni le poids des années. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. For those who can, please be seated. Pour ceux et celles qui le peuvent, veuillez vous asseoir. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, je vous présente l'Honourable Elizabeth Dowdeswell, Lieutenant-Gouverneur de l'Ontario. I invite the Honourable Elizabeth Dowdeswell, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, to bring greetings, Your Honour.
Chief Archibald, Premier, parliamentarians, Brigadier General Mielkowski, veterans, men and women of the armed forces, good morning, bonjour, bonjour. J'aimerais remercier tous les Ontariens qui assistent à cette commémoration en ligne. Today, I acknowledge this land and the people of many Indigenous nations who have stewarded this territory from time immemorial. Let us also pay tribute to generations of Indigenous people who have stood on guard for this country. It is a most worthy tradition each year to learn the lessons of history and recognize those remarkable and generous souls who defended us in times of war and conflict. It is a debt we can never fully repay. The numbers are staggering. Those who did not return from battle, those who did, but broken in body and spirit, and those family and friends who were touched and supported them all too often in silence. Time and again, Canadians have courageously sacrificed so that this world, around this world, people can live in peace and dignity. Before us is a moving memorial to veterans of war in Afghanistan, a monument that stands proudly as a testament to Canada's continuing role throughout the ages in building a just and secure world. The stone in this newly unveiled monument was taken from the Inukshuk that stood at Kandahar airfield as a tribute to fallen soldiers. Today, it's a reminder that we are all connected to a much larger world, one that depends on us and one upon which we depend. Remembrance Day 2020 takes place in strange and uncertain circumstances. We're in the midst of a global pandemic. We are all vulnerable and must remain vigilant. And as we begin the rebuilding and dare to dream of a better normal, those who have served in our armed forces provide inspiration. Working together in common cause, members of the Canadian Forces have been there for us every step of the way, on the front lines, in long-term care homes, in cities and towns as reassuring neighbors and leaders. Daily, they demonstrate resilience as they continue to serve. Today, we've given up being able to come together in large numbers. We do so to protect others. It's a small but important gesture through which we actually respect and honor the legacy of those who sacrificed for us in the past. Our veterans will continue to inspire, because together we will overcome and build a stronger future together. Lest we forget, n'oublions jamais.
Merci. Thank you, Your Honor. Maintenant, j'invite l'honorable Doug Ford, Premier ministre de l'Ontario, à venir pour quelques mots. Monsieur.
Good morning. I'm honored to be here with the Lieutenant Governor, Minister MacLeod, Brigadier General Milkowski, Regional Chief Archibald, Major General Fraser, Minister Carolyn Bennett, Silver Cross Mother Ren Sampson Daw, Major Warrant Officer Van Snick and the Royal Canadian Legion, and other federal and provincial representatives. Normally, many more of our men and women in uniform and our veterans would be here today. Our Royal Canadian Legion halls would be holding ceremonies in communities right across this province. But this year is considerably different. We face a new enemy in COVID-19, and we must take care because our health and safety is paramount. But those we honor are with us in spirit. They are with us from the safety of their homes. And we thank the Legion for all the hard work to keep the flame of those we've lost shining brightly this year. Because today, we all wear a poppy, and we wear it proudly. Today, we take a moment of silent reflection. Today, we stand united as a people, as a province, and as a country in paying tribute to our heroes. 75 years ago, we marked the end of the Second World War. It was one of the most deadly wars the world has ever seen. And yet, against the brutal tyranny of the Nazi regime, 1 million Canadians chose to take a stand. They took a stand to protect our fundamental rights, our dignity as human beings, our way of life. In that fight, 55,000 Canadians were wounded, and 45,000 soldiers made the ultimate sacrifice. Today, Minister MacLeod and I unveil the new memorial to honor Canadian heroes of the war in Afghanistan. From 2001 to 2014, 40,000 members of the Canadian Armed Forces answered the call of duty to serve in Afghanistan and fight the brutal Taliban regime. More than 2,000 service members were wounded, and tragically, 155 soldiers lost their lives. Through their courageous actions, they brought peace to the world. It is a debt of gratitude we can never fully repay except by protecting all that they fought for. Lest we forget, God bless our active service members, our veterans, and God bless the people of Ontario.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite Brigadier General Conrad Malkowski, Commander, 4th Canadian Division, to the podium to deliver his remarks. J'invite le Brigadier Général Conrad Malkowski, commandant de la 4e Division du Canada, à venir prononcer son allocution. Monsieur.
Your Honor, Mr. Premier, honored guests, dignitaries, good morning. Proud Canadians across Ontario and everywhere around the globe. It's an honor to be here this morning on Remembrance Day. Every year on this day, we honor the service and sacrifice of Canadian Armed Forces veterans who have served our country, whether during the Great War, the Second World War, Korea, or more recently in the Balkans, Afghanistan, and around the globe. Our veterans fought to maintain the freedom we enjoy to ensure a better future for our children and our grandchildren. Nous vivons dans un pays fort et libre grâce à ceux qui se sont battus pour la paix. We live in a country strong and free thanks to those who fought selflessly to achieve peace. Cette année, en raison de la pandémie du COVID-19, les Canadiens et les Canadiennes sont appelés à souligner la journée de souvenir en toute sécurité et dans le respect et de l'éloignement physique. Though we cannot gather in groups to remember the sacrifices of those who fought, we still show our support by remembering individually, in small groups, and with close family. Cette année, nous marquons un anniversaire important. Nous marquons le 75e anniversaire de la libération des Pays-Bas et du jour de la victoire en Europe. Pendant les 6 longues années de la Deuxième Guerre mondiale, plus d'1 million de Canadiens ont servi côté à côté avec nos alliés, jouant un rôle clé dans la bataille de l'Atlantique, dans les campagnes de Normandie et de l'Italie, et l'offensive aérienne contrôlée l'Allemagne. La libération des Pays-Bas a été la dernière contribution importante du Canada pour aider les Alliés à remporter la victoire en Europe. The Canadians who fought in the campaign to liberate the Netherlands were among more than 1 million Canadians who served during the Second World War. More than 45,000 gave their lives in that global conflict, and more than 7,600 Canadians died in the 9-month campaign to liberate the Netherlands. Members of our armed forces continue to follow brave Canadians who serve to protect our freedoms. The courage and valor of those who served in the first half of the 20th century is reflected in the dedication and commitment of your Canadian Armed Forces. As we ready ourselves for the future, we draw strength from the fact that we walk in the footsteps of those who have served our country with distinction throughout its history. On this Remembrance Day, we thank our veterans for their selfless service and remember brothers and sisters in arms who were lost this past year in the service of Canada. We honor that memory of brave men, women who made the ultimate sacrifice so that we can continue to live in this amazing country, the true North, strong and free. Merci, thank you, Miigwech.
Merci, monsieur. Thank you. Now, Ontario Regional Chief Roseanne Archibald of the Chiefs of Ontario will offer a prayer.
Wachimiswe, Roseanne Archibald, Natishnakas, Dagotagamos, Gatakoachian. I acknowledge the Creator, the world around us, and our place within it. I acknowledge and offer respect to the many nations who have walked this land in the past and those who walk it today, and thank the Mississaugas of Credit Anishinaabe for hosting us on their treaty lands and territory. Miigwech, Premier Ford, for inviting me. I acknowledge all the dignitaries, particularly Her Honor, Lieutenant Governor Dowdeswell. Today we honor the lives of the many heroic men and women who courageously fought in the wars for freedom in Canada. Among these heroic individuals are the First Nation veterans who gave their lives to protect our land, traditions, and families to ensure that we are still here today. Nearly 7,000 First Nation men and women bravely volunteered to serve and fight for a country that at that time didn't even consider them equals. I want to thank the hunters and warriors who chose to share their knowledge and skills of great patience, stealth actions, and target accuracy. In order to protect us, these warriors gave the ultimate sacrifice as they were forced to give up their treaty rights in order to fight for Canada, only to return home to have their veteran benefits denied, which is a pain that is still felt by many First Nation veterans today. We will continue to be resilient and honor those individuals who sacrificed their rights that we could have ours. Right now, we are provided with this time and space to honor those that were not respectfully recognized during their time of serving. I want all of you to think specifically about the 7,000 First Nation veterans who gave their lives to protect our country, our rights, and our families. I want to thank them personally and honor them. We must never forget the extraordinary courage, accomplishments, and sacrifices of First Nation veterans, lest we forget. Miigwech Ninanaskamun.
Thank you, Chief Archibald. Miigwech. Today, we are joined by Flight Sergeant Emily Simoy, 2nd Vandenboe Whitby Squadron, and Warrant Officer First Class Daria Quinn, 142nd Mimico Squadron, Royal Canadian Air Cadets, to recall the experience of Canadian soldier John McCrae. Aujourd'hui, les cadets Emily Simoy et Daria Quinn se joignent à nous pour nous rappeler l'expérience du soldat canadien John McCrae. I take your attention to the video screen there.
In In Flanders fields the poppies blow. Between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing, fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you, from failing hands, we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Au champ d'honneur, les coquelicots sont parsemés de lot en lot, auprès des quais, et dans l'espace, les alouettes devenues lasses mêlent leur chant au sifflement des obusiers. Nous sommes morts, nous qui songions la veille encore, à nos parents, à nos amis, c'est nous qui reposons ici, au champ d'honneur. À vous, jeunes désabusés, à vous de porter l'oriflamme et de garder au fond de l'âme le goût de vivre en liberté. Acceptez le défi, sinon les coquelicots se faneront au champ d'honneur.
Very well done, bravo. And now I invite Lieutenant Colonel Michel Dion, Division Chaplain, 4th Canadian Division, to offer a prayer. Et maintenant, j'invite l'aumônier Lieutenant-Colonel Michel Dion à dire une prière. Monsieur.
Good morning. On this occasion, I'd like to echo the same words that will be spoken by the Chaplain General of the Canadian Armed Forces at the National War Memorial in Ottawa. Today, we would hope to gather in person in greater numbers to honor the sacrifice and service of so many in the cause of freedom and peace. We must do so separately. Our distance from one another diminishes neither our gratitude nor the inspiration we draw from the example of these heroes we name on this day aloud or in the silence of our hearts. In respecting individual beliefs and conscience, I invite you to take this moment for contemplation. Dans le respect des croyances individuelles et de la conscience de chacun et chacune, je vous invite à prendre un moment de recueillement. Today, we give thanks for the men and women of every generation who have answered the call to serve our country at sea, on land, or in the air, at home or abroad. We give thanks for those who serve today. We do not take for granted the sacrifices made by those who laid down their lives for us. En cette année qui marque le 75e anniversaire de la fin de la bataille de l'Atlantique et des jours de la victoire en Europe et au Japon, nous nous souvenons des marins, des soldats et des aviateurs qui ont été déployés pour la cause de la paix. Puissions-nous rendre grâce pour la détermination, la force et la volonté qui leur furent nécessaires pour faire face aux terribles épreuves de la guerre. It is with gratitude that we remember our veterans and serving members who suffer and who have suffered injuries in body, mind, and spirit. May we be compassionate to those who put an end to the struggle of their lives, those for whom suffering was so great and despair carried such weight that they were unable to find hope for the future. We remember them. Nous prions pour les dirigeants de ce monde et de notre pays, pour notre souveraine, Elizabeth II, reine du Canada, la gouverneure générale, le Premier ministre et le chef d'État-major de la Défense, ainsi que les dirigeants de cette province et les autres. We gather to affirm one another in our determination to fight beliefs which divide us, racism, hateful attitudes, and the use of violence. We seek to remove the barriers of division through a spirit of reconciliation and service. On this day, when so much has changed since the last time we gathered, may we be comforted by the words from Her Majesty the Queen to Canadians in the context of this pandemic. Hope is to be found in the care given to the vulnerable and to those in need. May we find hope in the service and sacrifice made by those who offer themselves for the sake of others, because darkness of night always ends with the light of day. May this be so, and may we work to make it so. Amen.
Merci, Padre. The memory of sacrifice is also preserved by the youth of our nation and is demonstrated by their commitment to remember, which will be read by Cadets Emily Simoe and Daria Quinn. La mémoire du sacrifice est également préservée par la jeunesse de notre nation et démontrée par la promesse de se souvenir, qui sera lue par les cadets Emily Simoe et Daria Quinn. I draw your attention to the screen.
They were young as we are young. They served, giving freely of themselves. To them we pledge, amid the winds of time, to carry their torch and never forget. We will remember them.
Ils étaient jeunes, jeunes comme nous. Ils ont servi, donnant généreusement d'eux-mêmes. Nous leur promettons, en dépit du temps qui passe, de porter le flambeau et de ne jamais oublier. Nous nous souviendrons d'eux.
Merci. Bravo. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now commence the laying of the wreaths. Mesdames et messieurs, nous allons maintenant commencer le dépôt des couronnes. On behalf of the people of Ontario, au nom de la population de l'Ontario, the Honourable Elizabeth Dowdeswell, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, Lieutenant Gouverneur de l'Ontario. On behalf of the Province of Ontario, au nom de la Province de l'Ontario, the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier Ministre of Ontario, Premier Ministre de l'Ontario. Monsieur. National Silver Cross Mother 2019, Mrs. Ren Sampson Daw, Mère nationale de la Croix d'Argent 2019. On behalf of the Government of Canada, au nom du gouvernement du Canada, the Honourable Caroline Bennett, Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations, Ministre des Relations Couronnes Autochtones. On behalf of the Canadian Armed Forces, au nom des Forces armées canadiennes, Brigadier General Conrad Malkowski. On behalf of First Nations and First Nation veterans, Ontario Regional Chief Roseanne Archibald. On behalf of the Legislative Assembly of Ontario, au nom de l'Assemblée législative, Jessica Bell, Member of Provincial Parliament, Député. On behalf of the Royal Canadian Legion, Ontario Command, Master Warrant Officer Retired Joel Van Snick, au nom de la Légion Royale Canadienne. On behalf of veterans, des anciens combattants, Major General Retired David Fraser. On behalf of the Ontario Public Service, au nom de la fonction publique de l'Ontario, Stephen Davidson, Secretary of the Cabinet and Head of the Ontario Public Service. Thank you, Secretary Davidson. Every year, a number of veterans and community organizations, as well as many members of the Consular Corps of Toronto, bring wreaths to Queen's Park in order to take part in this ceremony. Chaque année, des anciens combattants, diverses organisations communautaires, de nombreux membres du Corps consulaire de Toronto apportent des couronnes à Queen's Park afin de participer à cette cérémonie. This year, those organizations sent their wreaths in advance, and we have placed them along the Veteran Memorial so that, in some sense, they could be here with us today. Their names are on the screen in front of you. Mesdames et messieurs, je vous invite maintenant à regarder les avions de Royal Canadian utilisés aujourd'hui pour la mission au monde entier. Les hélicoptères Chinook ont effectué de multitudes de missions pendant la guerre en Afghanistan. Mesdames et messieurs, si vous êtes en mesure, veuillez vous lever pour l'hymne royal, suivi par le départ des dignités. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who can, please stand for the royal anthem as well as the departure of the platform party. Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the formal ceremony this morning. I thank you very much for your attendance here and at home. Good day.